This episode of the Fiction Writers Podcast is brought to you by the Novel Notebook. With each character and each setting, hundreds of details must be compiled and organized. Far too many for a writer, like you, to keep them cataloged in your brain. The Novel Notebook provides the answer. Visit www.fictionwriterspodcast.com/novel and quickly discover how to organize your materials and take your novel to the next level. Welcome to the Fiction Writers Podcast with Lana McAra, where you will discover tips, tricks, and ideas for fiction that is #unputdownable. Here you'll find new energy, new perspectives, new resources, and new ideas that will spark your creativity into a blaze of brilliance. It's easier than you think. Be sure you visit our website at www.fictionwriterspodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, get out your notebook, tune in, and let's get started.
What exactly are character conflicts? Are they personality conflicts? Are they arguments? What are they? That's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Lana McAra. Welcome to the Fiction Writers Podcast. Tips, tricks, and ideas for fiction that is #unputdownable. I see this in movies a lot, where the people just bicker. They bicker and argue, and the arguments are pointless. They're tedious, and you get tired of them pretty quickly. Now, if you have a relationship in the book that is troubled, it's okay to show that these people don't get along. But the constant bickering and the constant making up issues, like when one person says, I feel like going out for dinner, and the other person says, whoa, does that mean you don't like my cooking? Drawing something negative from a comment that means nothing. Those kind of things, they get tiresome. They get really tiresome. So when you are creating your character conflicts, you need to think about this. Don't tire your reader or make them get frustrated with your characters to the point where they want to close the book or turn the channel. In the case of some of these sitcoms and TV shows that we watch or don't watch. So sometimes I see this with writers, with new authors especially. And so here are some things character conflicts are not. Character conflicts are not emergencies. Somebody knocked the woman's purse out, or she knocked the woman's purse off the hood of her car, didn't realize it, and drove away, and there's a purse on the road. Okay, that's an emergency. All of her ID stuff is in there, her credit cards and everything, and then she goes ballistic. Okay, if that's part of the plot, that's fine. But if you are just trying to create tension, no. It's not an emergency. The emergency has to be intrinsic to the theme and the plot line. Otherwise, it's just added on fluff to try to keep interest. You're not fooling the reader. They know that it's not germane or appropriate for the story. Every word in your story should be having a purpose. If you're trying to show that your main character is an airhead and can't keep it together, then have him do something at the very beginning of the show that is going to flavor his character from then on. Just one time, he knocks over a full glass of soda and spills it all over his desk or somebody else's desk. That's a good way to show this guy's clumsy. And then don't do it again, or maybe do it at strategic moments when he's supposed to show up and he gets clumsy again. But that is intentional. That's intentional. It's not just random. So emergencies are not conflict. They're just points of the plot that need to have a reason to get to the next plot point. Another one is they're not arguments between characters. I already covered that. Not arguments, unless you are using the argument to show the character relationships or the character's personality and approach. That's a meaningful argument. But if you are just creating problems to try to stir up some interest and stir up some conflict, that's not what a good book has in it. This is random. Everything in the book is supposed to be strategic. If you are strategic with every incident, every scene, and everything in the scene, that it moves the story forward. It moves the characters forward. Either you're revealing their character or you're showing that the character is changing. Those are the two things, the two jobs that every incident in the story should have in reference to character. It's either revealing character or showing change in the character development. The second thing that every incident should be doing is moving the plot forward. So you know that your plot has to start out with an inciting incident, something that happens to set the story in motion. And then your plot needs to have a midpoint where things ramp up. And then we need a dark moment. So how are these various scenes leading to these different places in the plot? You're building a world, you're building the story in strategic ways. And so conflict comes in intrinsically. It's built into the story. The conflict is the problem your character's trying to solve. It is people who are standing in the way of solving the problem. That is real conflict. And then you have another type of conflict, and that is the struggle inside the person. Their own interior thoughts, their battles of what they want, what they don't want, what they think they want, but they don't really want. All those psychology games that are going inside of them. That's internal conflict. So that's real conflict because it builds the story, it builds the characters. Arguments and emergencies don't do that. And dysfunctional relationships, unless they are intrinsic to the problem, the main story problem, they don't add to the story unless you're showing the main character's internal struggle. If he has a mother who's dominating, well, that mother could cause this person to doubt themselves in the main struggle of the story. So that's okay. Just don't get overhand. Don't get too strong-armed with it. But mom calls. He knows if he doesn't pick up, she's going to be all over his case next time. So he picks up. And she's just going on, why. And then he hangs up. And you feel this internal struggle because she has destroyed his self-confidence. That's okay, as long as this situation is about the main problem in the story, moving the story forward or the character forward, or both, because they should be wound around each other. So when you create your character conflicts, always look at your theme, at the character's personal growth and development in the story, and the plot. And how can you create these conflicts to move all three of those forward? That's what real story conflict is all about. I hope that helped you today. My name is Lana McAra. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning into the Fiction Writers Podcast with Lana McAra, where we share tips, tricks, and ideas for fiction that is #unputdownable. Remember to visit our website at www.fictionwriterspodcast.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Fiction Writers Podcast.